Hello, fellow seekers. Welcome back to the Law of One Spiritual Advice Podcast. My name is El, and I return to speak on some Law of One philosophy and share with you some stories and my opinions on the matter in attempts to serve. So today, I have a story that I would like to share. I have a story, and it goes about 9 years back, and it is just a really lasting impression that it had left on me. And so I was thinking about, why does this stick with me for so many years, this very small experience? And I would suggest it is because it was my experience with a radiant being. So I ran into somebody, and they happen to have a radiant personality, and that radiance of themselves being opened, I would assume they're sort of fully opened up and in the chakra system, and they're having the energy flow through them in a harmonious manner. And I was able to view that in this person for a moment, which was so profound that it stuck with me for like almost 10 years now. So I would like to explain that experience and sort of what that means to me specifically. And then, if I'm to give you some sort of categories that we might speak about, this is going to be about, like the radiance of being, about how radiance of healing, how, you're essentially actually looking to heal yourself and heal others, and how are we doing that? And we're going to be talking about the contagious joy and knowing thyself, and the importance of being yourself, and basically all kind of, it's a fancy way of saying entering the third eye. All of these sort of subjects that I'm talking about, they have a lot to do with the indigo chakra, with the chakra of unity consciousness, the third eye, as it may be called. So let us get started. First of all, theoneinfinitecreator.com is my website, where I have links to the LL research material, who provides us all of this for free. So thank you so much to those guys there. And how shall I start this? Okay, so yes, I will read you two small quotes, and then I'm going to tell you my story so that it can all kind of be wrapped into each other. So we're going to start with session 17.18, and this is about healing, and the radiance of yourself is essentially you being healed and you acting in a healed way, and therefore essentially you are emanating harmony, in which case you're sort of emanating healing, emanating love. So it says here, Ra mentions, true healing is simply the radiance of the self causing an environment in which a catalyst may occur, which initiates the recognition of self by self of the self-healing properties of self. End of quote. So, right, first of all, I just want to basically tie into the idea here that healing is radiance of self. It's like they say, it's simply the radiance of self causing an environment in which whatever happens to have yourself recognize that you are capable of healing yourself. And really, I will just sort of mention that all healing is self-healing. Even if you have a healer or a doctor attempt to heal you, it is you that has the ultimate decision in the matter of that healing, in that you either accept or reject that healing. And that can be on a conscious or a subconscious level. However, it is still ultimately you who is going to be making that decision. And then I may also add this other quote in here about a unusually radiant personality. So in this sort of question, the questioner asks about, a person who is on this planet who may graduate from this density to the next density, from this lesson to their next set of lessons, and sort of like what that would look like, right? And Ra answers like this. Well, actually, I'll ask you the question too. So this is from session 1715. The questioner asks, I would like to make a point clear now that I am sure of myself. People of this planet, following any religion or no religion at all, or having no intellectual knowledge of the law of one or anything at all, can still be harvested into the fourth density if they are of that vibration. Is this not correct? Ra answers, I am Ra. This is correct. However, you will find a few who are harvestable, in other words, like who can graduate from this density. So anyways, they say, you will find a few who are harvestable, whose radiance does not cause others to be aware of their, what you may call, spirituality, the quality of the mind-body-spirit complex distortion. Thus, it is not particularly probable that an entity would be completely unknown to his immediate acquaintances as an unusually radiant personality, even were this individual not caught up in any of the distortions of your so-called religious systems. End of quote. So I guess I wanted to first mention here that, don't have to be a religious person to be a sort of spiritual type person, right? Like they just mention here, it's unusually radiant personality. And what is the word that they just used there? Radiant. So like they say, it's not particularly probable that an entity would be completely unknown to his immediate acquaintances. However, they would be they would stick out. They would stick out compared to, let's say, most people. So that's not to puff up your ego or maybe even have you feel bad if you feel that you're not an actual fully radiant personality. That's okay. We all are going to have our sort of different ways of serving. Some people are very radiant in themselves, and other people are more conserved, and it's more of an internal process that they're going through. Now, I want to tie this into my story. So what the heck am I talking about? Well, I had a moment with somebody like 10 years ago, and it was just basically an unusually radiant personality that I had a brief moment with, and for some reason it just stuck in my mind for many, many years. And it was, I believe it's sort of just the contagious joy that this person had. It just left a mark in me. And so why, like I said in the last podcast, or maybe 2 podcasts ago, I don't know, but anything that leaves the flavor of meaning in your brain, on your tongue, right, that sticks with you for some time in your brain is something worth looking at again. Something important is happening there. That is why your brain is holding on to it. So why my brain holds on to this experience, I would suggest, is because it is important, even though it is a very small story. So the story is this. I was a young buck, right? I was like 19 or so. Well, how old am I? I'm like 33 right now. So I was probably like 19 or 20, and I didn't have a vehicle. I live in a city with with like a bunch of suburbs around, and there's different skate parks. So I went to one skate park, and then we're taking the bus from this one suburb to another suburb to get to this other skate park, which is like maybe 15 minutes down the road. So me and my friend are waiting for the bus on the highway there, and some random guy just pulls over in his car, and I suppose it's because he saw us with skateboards, right? Like otherwise we probably wouldn't just hop in with some random person. But he did seem like he was a skateboarder, and he goes, "Hey, you guys, like you going down the street to the park down there? Like, would you like a ride?" And oh, heck yeah. So we get in there, and we get in his car, and we start driving down the road, and he's just having a blast. He is having a wonderful day. I don't know if he is doing this every day or this is just the moment that he was having, but it was just, he was having such a wonderful drive with us down there, where he turned up his music and he was listening to some kind of I don't even know what you would call it, but it's like like banjo, kind of like classic rock banjo, like really happy, upbeat, like yeehaw, partner. He's just rocking and having such a great time, like slapping his knee and just we were just so much joy, and it was so radiant in that moment that even though all it was like a 10-15 minute drive down the road, and he dropped us off at the skate park, and there was very minimal words that were, back and forth between us, other than just like the standards, how are you, etc., etc. But yeah, he was just so happy and so fun, and it was just really like just sat with me for such a long time that I just think of it so important that my experience of being with this individual for 10 minutes left such a flavor with me that 10 years later I still think about it, every few weeks. And it's that contagious joy. It's that I know what that guy was feeling in that moment. I've felt that obviously before. I get hyped up and fully sort of opened in my energy body and feeling the harmony flowing through me, and grateful and gratitude and singing, and I want to just like be happy, right? And so that is that type of feeling that is contagious to others. And so obviously it's like, we can be depressed and all of this stuff, but you even see somebody like walking down the street with a smile on their face, and often that's gonna somewhat just snap you out of it, or at least make you double think like, wow, that person's having a good day and I have a frown on my face. Why are they so happy? Why can't I be happy? Etc., etc. So like if you're able to step into yourself and be yourself, which would require you to also sort of seemingly disconnect from the thoughts and feelings of and expectations of other people. It's not that what they're expecting of you isn't important. It might be, but it can those types of feelings and thoughts can weigh on you heavy and have you feeling that you can't actually sort of be yourself, and you can't just have that radiant joy flowing through you and just being in the moment. And so if you're comfortable with yourself and you can be comfortable with even, expressing yourself in the way that even that guy did, like, I wouldn't necessarily pick up strangers and then start singing on the way to giving them a ride, right? There's a lot of sort of courage even in just being that person and being that radiant and sort of not caring about what others may think of you. And so I guess that's the flavor that is stuck with me, and at least that's the sort of ideas that I pull from the experience. And so let me read you a couple more quotes just to, I like to give some more Law of One in this. So this, I would like to explain, well, like, why is it that this is the case? Why is it that you knowing yourself and being yourself is sort of the answer to yourself and to the universe? It's the answer to healing. It's the answer to seeking. It's the answer to sharing love and light with others. And it's just basically is a step down from the macro to the micro, let's say, in that you are the creator knowing itself. We are one. Everything is the creator. The creator created itself so that it may know itself better. And that is through the sort of laws of free will, or as they may call it in this, the first distortion, or they also call it the law of confusion. But anyways, it's because of free will. And so the creator creates this experience so that we may be fully unaware of the situation that we are in, so that we may maximize our free will choice, so that we may know ourselves better, so that in the dark we may seek with the candle and maybe sort of correct imbalances that may exist within us. So in session 27.8, the questioner asks this. The questioner says, "Now I understand that the first distortion of intelligent infinity is the distortion of what we call free will. Can you give me a definition of this distortion?" Ra says, "I am Ra. In this distortion of the Law of One, it is recognized that the Creator will know itself." The questioner continues on, Then am I correct then in assuming that the Creator will know itself, the Creator, then grants for this knowing the concept of freedom, total freedom of choice in the ways of knowing? Am I correct?" And Ra answers, "I am Ra. This is quite correct." So the Creator then grants for this knowing the concept of freedom, of total freedom of choice. So what does that mean? It means, well, we incarnated here in third density behind the veil. This is basically, the veil is a fancy way of saying that you sort of go through amnesia. You used to know everything, used to be in contact with unity, with the Creator in a conscious fashion, and that you knew all was well. You knew that everything was one. And so you incarnate in this third density and you sort of become ignorant. And you say, well, I'm not so sure that we're all one. Yeah, I'm not so sure what this experience is about. So you've been plunged into the darkness of unknowing, in the sort of darkness of ignorance, and that is good and well, actually, believe it or not. You're here so that you may make a unbiased choice, let's say, in whatever method you would like to make. And if I'm being too esoteric, the choice is the choice to serve the self, as the self is the most important part of the experience, or to serve others, and serve others as if they are the self as well. So, everyone is one, or is it that you are the most important part and everyone should sort of be controlled to serve you? So these are your two choices: service to self, service to others, in a very, very brief way of stating it. And then how may we get there? How may we get to this being radiant and this healing? Because it's ultimately when we are healed and we are essentially acting in a harmonious way, we are, radiating healing, you might state. But sort of like, what are the steps to get there, right? So I already read you the very end of this quote, but I would now read the entire part of it. So this is from session 17.18, and Ross states this: "The third density can be one in which healing takes place just as the others. However, there is more illusory material to understand, to balance, to accept, and to move forward from. The gate to intelligent infinity can only be opened when an understanding of the instreamings of intelligent energy are opened unto the healer. These are the so-called natural laws of your local space-time continuum and its web of electromagnetic sources or nexi of in-streaming energy. And I'm just going to stop there. That is a fancy way of them stating that you kind of just need to understand your body in terms of the chakra system that we are equipped with. And I've gone over that in the last podcast. So if you'd like to know what that's more about, you should probably listen to one of the previous ones. But specifically the last one, I went into this a lot. So that's what they're talking about here in understanding the natural laws. So it's like the natural laws that the energy comes into your body, and then through its electromagnetic sources or nexi of in-streaming energy. All the fancy talk of the light coming from the Creator, from the Logos, the Sun, to the planet, through you, up, out into the rest of the universe. Continuing on. Know then, first, the mind and the body. Then, as the spirit is integrated and synthesized, those are harmonized into a mind-body-spirit complex which can move along the dimensions and which can open the gateway to intelligent infinity, thus healing self by light and sharing that light with others. Stopping there again, and so mentioning here, right, that the first then, know then first the mind and the body. And once again, you're probably going to have to listen to last week's podcast. This is all connected with, well, you're going to want to know the mind, because the mind is sort of the tool where the emotions come from, which are sort of like the filters of perceptions of your chakras. And then as you deal with the mind and become at ease and accept the things within it, then you may know the body, in that the body is a creature of the mind. And from there, you then start to work with the spirit. And the spirit is synthesized into your mind-body-spirit complex, which then can basically open the gateway to intelligent infinity, which is sort of like the gateway to your indigo third eye chakra, or possibly even the violet one, the one above it, but they're kind of similar in a way, in that basically once you hit that, they call that the gateway to intelligent infinity. It's basically where you enter then you have the upward spiraling light coming from the bottom chakras that push up into the indigo, and once they've reached that and they open that gateway, you open a gateway to the downstreaming energy, the intelligent infinite energy of the Creator, which then also can heal and perfect your body and your perception and your moment by moment. And that's why they state here, thus healing the self by light and sharing that light with others. So the light enters the energy body up from the top once you've opened it up, perfects and heals yourself, and obviously shares that healing with others by just being a radiant self, a radiant you being the happy, joyous, wonderful being that you are. And so they wrap up here with, true healing is simply the radiance of the self causing an environment in which a catalyst may occur which initiates the recognition of self by self of the self-healing properties of the self. And just lastly, they kind of state, this is sort of the same thing, just said in another way. They say this is a desirable configuration. So in session 5013, they sort of mention this. They state, the most normal for the adept is the following: the indigo stimulation activating that great gateway into healing, magical work, prayerful attention, and the radiance of being, and the stimulation of the violet ray, which is the spiritual giving and taking from and to Creator, from Creator to Creator. This is a desirable configuration. End of quote. So that's sort of the same way, again, as stating that, when you reach up into the indigo chakra, I guess it's not just completely about radiance. It is, but it's the gateway into healing, magical work, prayerful attention, and radiance of being. And, like in that is silence. It's like through the power of silence, or what did they state? The gate to intelligent infinity can be opened like a door, and the key to that door is silence. They state that somewhere else. I don't have it in front of me. So, my friends, I think that was good for today. I mostly just wanted to explain the contagiousness of joy, and how you just being yourself and being a loving being and joyful person is radiant, and it can stick with people for a long time. So much so that I don't even know the song that guy sang me, but it reminds me of that CCR song. You're looking out my back door, and they go, just got home from Illinois, locked the front door, oh boy, got to sit down, take a rest. rest on the porch. Imagination sets in. Pretty soon I'm singing. Do, 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 looking out my back door. Yeehaw! Anyways. I wanted to give an example of the joy that you can irradiate. And so there you go. His joy 10 years ago channeled through me and my memories into this CCR song, out into the world to you, to be an example of the contagiousness of joy. So I hope that you have a wonderful rest of the week, my friends. I actually am having a pretty terrible week. I have some health issues that I've been dealing with. I got a dentist appointment today. I was not stoked at all to enter today, but here I am. It seems like I'm having a good time. So thank you guys for listening and being part of this podcast and just being around and seeking the truth. I appreciate you for who you are and the seeking that you are and the radiant being that you are. Even when you are not totally radiant, just recognize that you have the power to be yourself, which is the only part of, like, the universe is infinite, you guys. The universe is infinite, which means you are infinite, which means that there is only you who can bring whatever it is, that magic spark to this universe. You are a part of infinity, and so only you can contain that one part. Although we are one with all, you have this uniqueness to you that is a wonderful part of the Creator which cannot be lost, which will never be lost, which is you and the energy that is you, and it is not like anyone else. Even though you're very similar to a lot of people, it is not like anyone else, and this universe cannot go on without you. We need you. We love you, my friend. So stick around, be radiant, be yourself, try your best to step out of the anxiety of the world and all the many thoughts, and just be okay. Okay, sweet. Thank you. Okay, guys. So if you appreciate listening to the podcast, please give it a like. I always appreciate to see them likes. It helps with the algorithm and sharing it around, and it helps me know that I've maybe connected the dots here and there for you. And it doesn't mean that you agree with everything I've said. It just means maybe that you appreciate my efforts in putting out this weekly podcast. So thank you. If you find value in what I do, you could maybe jump on my Patreon, shoot me a one-time PayPal. I can do Interact e-transfer, whatever. I seek to give this information for free, and I would never want to put it behind a paywall. So if you feel that there's value in this, you have a little extra abundance that you'd like to put out into the world to support the projects that you would like to see more of, I'm waiting here for you, my friends. Freely give, freely receive. Thank you to everybody who already does, and to those who can't, and abundance isn't completely your thing at the moment. No worries, my friends. I love you too. I ask nothing more other than just, I don't even care. I just really don't care. I just seek to serve. You do as you will with these words and this material, and that's your thing, and I'll keep doing my thing. And I just hope that it is helpful, because I do just seek to serve. That's sort of what I'm here for. So yes, theoneinfinitecreator.com. You can find links to all of that stuff there. And thank you guys. I hope you have a wonderful rest of the week. Take care.